Consciousness, then, does not appear to itself chopped up in bits. It flows. A river or a stream are the metaphors by which it is most naturally described. These words from William James in 1890 fundamentally changed how we think about the human mind, introducing one of psychology's most enduring and elegant concepts, the stream of consciousness. When James chose the metaphor of a flowing river to describe our inner mental life, he was pushing back against the dominant psychological theories of his time, which viewed consciousness as a collection of separate, discrete mental states that could be broken down and analyzed like chemical compounds. James saw something far more dynamic and interconnected. He recognized that our thoughts don't arrive in neat, separate packages, but rather flow continuously from one to the next, carrying with them traces of what came before and anticipations of what might come next. Think about your own experience right now as you listen to these words. Your consciousness isn't simply focused on the meaning of each individual sentence. Instead, your mind is simultaneously processing the sound of the narrator's voice, perhaps noticing background sounds in your environment, connecting these ideas to your own memories and experiences, maybe even planning what you'll do after this video ends. This is the stream in action, a continuous flow of sensations, thoughts, emotions, and memories that blend together in an ever-changing current. James understood that this stream has certain fundamental characteristics that make it uniquely human. First, it's deeply personal. Your stream of consciousness is unlike anyone else's, shaped by your particular history, relationships, and experiences. Second, it's selective, constantly choosing what to focus on from the overwhelming flood of potential stimuli and thoughts available at any moment. Third, it's temporal, always moving from past through present toward future, never truly static or fixed in place. Perhaps most importantly, James recognized that consciousness is intentional. It's always consciousness of something. We don't simply have abstract awareness floating in a void. Our consciousness is constantly directed toward objects, people, ideas, memories, or sensations. This directedness gives our mental stream its coherence and purpose, even when it seems to meander or drift. The brilliance of James's insight becomes even more apparent when we consider how it applies to our contemporary understanding of mental life. Modern neuroscience has confirmed what James intuited over a century ago. Our brains are never truly at rest. Even when we are not actively focused on a specific task, neural networks continue their constant activity, generating what researchers now call the default mode network, essentially the brain's version of James's flowing stream. This understanding has profound implications for how we approach mental health and well-being in the 21st century. The growing popularity of mindfulness meditation, for instance, can be seen as a direct application of James's insights. When we practice mindfulness, we are learning to observe our stream of consciousness without being completely carried away by it. We begin to notice the patterns in our mental flow, how certain thoughts tend to trigger specific emotions, how our attention naturally shifts and changes, how we can learn to redirect the stream when it flows toward unhelpful or destructive channels. The stream of consciousness concept also helps us understand various psychological conditions in new ways. Anxiety, for example, can be understood as a stream that has become caught in repetitive eddies of worry and fear, circling around the same concerns rather than flowing naturally toward resolution or acceptance. Depression might involve a stream that has slowed to a sluggish crawl, losing its natural vitality and forward momentum. Even attention disorders can be viewed through this lens, as streams that jump rapidly from one channel to another, struggling to maintain a steady course. In our age of constant digital stimulation and information overload, James's insights feel more relevant than ever. We live in an environment that constantly attempts to redirect our mental streams, pulling our attention in multiple directions simultaneously. Social media platforms, news cycles, and entertainment systems all compete for space in our consciousness, often fragmenting our natural flow into scattered, superficial currents. Understanding consciousness as a stream rather than a series of disconnected thoughts empowers us to take more intentional control over our mental lives. We can learn to recognize when our stream is flowing in directions that don't serve us well, and we can develop practices that help restore its natural rhythm and depth. Whether through meditation, journaling, creative expression, or simply spending time in nature, we can nurture the conditions that allow our consciousness to flow more freely and authentically. James's stream of consciousness remains one of psychology's most beautiful and practical metaphors because it captures something essential about what it means to be human, the continuous, dynamic, ever-changing nature of our inner experience. By understanding our minds as flowing streams rather than static containers, we open up new possibilities for growth, healing, and self-understanding. Subscribe to The Psychology of William James to explore more of his timeless ideas.